Hello and good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's Client Enrichment Series presentation titled Say Aloha to Kahua, PBS's new project management tool. My name is James Patopoulos, and I'm a Regional Account Manager out of Region 6 in Kansas City. Before we begin, I want to let everyone know that we are recording today's session. We will post archived Client Enrichment Series videos on our YouTube channel, where you can access more than 30 past sessions anytime, day or night. There is a link to our YouTube channel at the end of today's slide deck. We would also like to make you aware of the available GSA resources to assist you and your organizations navigating through the current pandemic and your return to physical workspaces. At the end of the deck, you will find those links on a resource page and the portal website. Today's presentation will be led by Tina Atkins, Valerie Pierre, and Susan Mills. And a little bit about our presenters today. Tina Atkins is a program manager in the Office of Design and Construction. She leads the change management and communications efforts for Kahua, PBS's new project management and collaboration tool. Tina has 25 years of experience with GSA, 15 of those working for Region 6 in client solutions and workforce development, and 10 years working with GSA Central Office on national project management initiatives. Valerie Pierre is a project information systems coordinator in the Office of Design and Construction. She leads the portfolio and training support teams for Kahua. Prior to working on the Kahua program, she supported multiple information systems and provided program management services for GSA, both as a federal employee and as a contractor. Susan Mills is the project manager lead trainer for the Kahua system administrative support and training team. This team is responsible for Kahua training, implementation, support, and report writing for the system. I do have some housekeeping instructions. A live captioning link is available for this session, and we'll paste that link in the chat pod. It looks like it is available at this time. You can use that link to operate and open a separate window to view captions for side-by-side viewing with your Zoom window. We have automatically muted your audio to help us control the sound quality of this presentation. And if you are new to using Zoom, welcome. We have found the Zoom for a government platform to be pretty intuitive and user-friendly. You can customize your view with different pods as you see fit. Speaking of, you will see that there is the chat pod as well as a Q&A area. For this session, please use the chat pod for any administrative questions you have or report any issues you're experiencing, and one of our CES team members can assist you. Please do not use the raise hand function to ask a question during today's presentation. We want to keep all the dialogue in the Q&A pod. Any questions that we're unable to get to today will be noted, and all questions will be answered and posted on our website at www.gsa.gov/CES. Thanks for everyone for attending today. And with that, I will turn it over to Tina Atkins. Take it away.
Thanks, James. And hello, everyone, or aloha. I think maybe you've probably already figured out that Kahua is a Hawaiian name or word, and it stands for platform or foundation in Hawaiian. And that's what Kahua is for us at GSA. It is our platform for project management, as well as the foundation for great project delivery. It's a collaboration tool as well. And that's why we've invited you to be a part of our stakeholder environment in Kahua. Kahua is available to not only our internal folks at GSA, but also our external stakeholders, our contractors that we work with on projects, as well as you, our customers. So we're glad that you're here, and we're excited to share with you some information about Kahua today. So we're going to start off with just some slides for you. Val and I are going to cover some slides that give you a high-level overview of Kahua, and then we're going to get into the fun, and we'll turn it over to Susan, and she's going to give you a tour of Kahua. I just want to let you know that it's okay that if you don't have an account for this training. It's just going to kind of be more of a demonstration today. Just want you to keep an eye out though when Susan gets into Kahua. Just pay attention to like how you get to your project, and pay attention to that ribbon at the top that's going to let you know like where you're at in the tool. Those are two very key important items to remember when you do get an account and get into Kahua. Susan covers this very well, so she'll do a great job in reminding you and showing you how to do that. So, all right, so let's go ahead. We'll get started. Again, Val's going to cover what is Kahua. She's going to cover what does Kahua offer, so the benefits of Kahua for you as a customer. And then also she's going to go over the applications that are going to be available to you in Kahua. Kahua has a lot of applications. You're going to have some select applications that you will have access to and that you'll be able to use to get information about your projects. Then I'll come back and I'll share with you how you get access to Kahua and then where to go for more information. And then we'll get into the fun of it, the demo part. All right. Before we get started, before I turn it over to Val, we do have a poll. Couple poll questions for you just to get an idea of who's out in the audience. I know we do have some GSA folks on the call, but these questions are really for the customer base. So first question is, I have used GSA's former project management system called EPM. Yes or no? And then also whether or not you have a Kahua account. Are we getting some answers, James?
I think so. We'll see if
Is it working?
We'll see if the poll is working. It
There we
is
go.
working. There it is.
Awesome.
And it looks like about 17% of folks have used the former system EPM and 83% did not.
Okay.
The next question was, I already have a Kahua account. 25% said yes and 75% said no. All
right, great. Yeah, I'm not sure that we had a whole lot of people, our customers actually in EPM. We had some, but not a lot. This tool is different in that there's definitely more opportunity to collaborate with our customers. So that's why we're here sharing this information with you guys. So, and I see we have some folks that already have accounts, so that's great. Some of this you might already know or have already taken some training on Kahua. So this might just be an overview for you. But for those that are new to Kahua, hopefully this will be of benefit for you. All right, great. Thank you so much for participating on that poll. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Val and she will share with you what is Kahua.
Thank you, Tina. So what is Kahua? So Kahua is GSA's new project management collaboration tool. So it replaced EPM, which Tina just mentioned, which was our previous management system that was piloted starting around 2010. So let's take a look at a few key aspects of Kahua. So first, what we wanted with Kahua, with our new system, was a tool that could integrate with other PBS applications. So that way we can alleviate duplication of work and provide one centralized location for project information. So one of the downsides of EPM, the previous system, was the lack of integration with other GSA applications. So that has changed with Kahua. So here's an example of some of our current integrations. We have Rexus, which is a PBS application that gives us information on buildings. So we get address information, occupancy information. So we get that now coming in directly from that system. We also have Rita, which I'm sure most of you have heard about. It's our system that gives us information on work requests and reimbursable work authorizations. So through this integration, we get RWA information such as estimate amounts, building location, and agency details. Next is Kahua includes the full project lifecycle. So in EPM, it was pretty common for projects to be created once they received funding rather than at project intake. So as a result, there was no centralized location to find information on a project from telling this history of the project from the time it was funded to the time it was closed out. So with Kahua, you want to make sure that projects are created as soon as the projects are originated. And they can use the tool, project teams can use the tool to upload studies and manage milestones and estimates before the project even receives funding. So creating projects at intake will also help promote early project planning in the system. And then teams will continue to use Kahua throughout design and construction and then they'll close out their projects in Kahua as well. Kahua includes more project types than our previous system. So now we have lease acquisition projects, new construction, repair and alteration. All those projects will be included in Kahua. And starting in the next few months, we'll have projects that are managed by agencies in delegated space. So each of these different project types have unique challenges and processes. So we needed to make sure that that Kahua treated them equally. So for example, if there's a small carpet replacement project, it shouldn't require the same usage as, say, a new construction courthouse project. So we needed to make sure that what we're requiring or asking project teams to do for their project really makes sense depending on the size of the project. So we work with a cross-regional team to carefully develop usage matrices for different project types. Next, Kahua allows for stakeholder collaboration. So Kahua is not only a tool for project managers. All business lines have a role to play in Kahua, whether it's an architect who's reviewing drawings or a building manager who needs to review the latest project status. So contractors and clients also have a role to play in Kahua. So we'll talk a little bit more about what clients can do in the next few slides. Kahua is a commercial off-the-shelf product that's configurable and allows us to customize it based on GSA, PBS nomenclature and processes. So we work with a team of about 300 regional participants to help configure Kahua in accordance for how we do business at GSA. So next, there are multiple environments to access Kahua. You can access it through the desktop application, through your web browser, or through a mobile device. So you'll see the login process in a few minutes when Susan starts the demo. On the security side, Kahua is a FedRAMP application, and a copy of our FedRAMP PMO agency review report can be provided to any agency security office if you need it. We're also happy to report that GSA just renewed our ATO, or authority to operate, for 3 years. And another security aspect, users have the ability to tag Kahua documents as CUI or controlled unclassified information, which can be used to limit some visibility of projects and of documents. Next slide. So Kahua offers you the ability to stay up to date on your project. So you can get project information in one location. So GSA has several systems that include various pieces of project information, and Kahua allows us to pull all of that information from those disparate systems into Kahua so that we don't have to duplicate work. And that saves time and provides better quality control. I mentioned before that we have 3 different ways you can access Kahua. And once you're added to a project, you can log in at any time to view the project information. So you have 3 opportunities to access it, 3 different ways to access it, but then you can, once you're in, you can look at your project information at any time. So once you're granted access to a project, clients will have the ability to view information such as project status, contacts, daily reports, field observations, submittals, punch lists, and RFIs. Kahua features a robust reports and dashboards. So there are project fact sheets that show things such as description and status. And then we also have dashboards that feature what we call widgets. So these are predefined or user-defined little bite-sized information. So you can see information at a glance. So if you wanted to see something like the number of submittals that are open for a project or the number of open design review comments, you can configure widgets to your desire. Having access to a project also gives you the ability to download attachments or export log views, which you'll see in a few minutes. And log views show information such as submittals or RFIs in a tabular format. And there are 2 things I want to mention here. First is about CPAs, which are client project agreements. Those are now created in Kahua. So with Kahua's functionality, integration functionality with a few PBS systems, we can pull information into the client project agreement application in Kahua. So this reduces the amount of time it takes to create a CPA. And very soon what we'll be doing is routing the CPAs to client agencies via DocuSign, which is going to save a lot of time because before the CPAs had to be created in Google Sheets and then routed to clients via signature, for signature via email. So we're looking forward to having that DocuSign functionality. And secondly, I want to point out that Kahua provides information on a project-by-project basis. So aggregate reporting for an agency, let's say if I'm coming from Department of Commerce and I want to see all of the commerce projects, that is not available at this time. Next slide. Okay, so you can review project documents in Kahua. So customers can collaborate on projects by reviewing documents and providing comments. And with the centralized system, all comments are located in one location. So you don't have to go to Google Drive to look at some comments, and then some comments are available within Kahua. Besides reviewing and commenting, customers can also upload documents. And if this is needed, the customer can work with the project manager for the specific project who can give them the ability to upload documents to that project. Let's say you had a file that you wanted to be available in Kahua's file manager system. You can work with a project manager who can give you the ability to do that. Project information can be shared with non-Kahua users featuring Kahua's send functionality. So for example, if you have a submittal item that you need to submit to another, that you need to send to another employee within your agency for review, you can do that even though that user does not have a Kahua account. And then lastly, Kahua keeps a history of comments on all documents. So clicking the history link will allow you to see previous entries on a document. Let's say there was an RFI and you wanted to know who edited it before. You'll be able to see that using the history function. You can see what they changed and when they changed it. Next up is how I will use Kahua. So on this slide, you'll see Kahua apps that are recommended for clients. So for each application, the matrix shows where you'll have a contributor role, and those are colored in orange on the matrix. And then which means you'll have the ability to upload or enter data or documents for that project. Whereas an observer, which are colored in blue, will likely reference the app, look at the information in it, but not take any action. So here's an example for a client. You may have access to just observe the submittals or RFIs or design review comments versus being able to add comments to the app. But at any time, regardless of your access level, you can receive tasks to review information or to provide comments on your specific project documents or activities. And contributor rights, like I mentioned before, can be changed for applications on a project-by-project basis. So if you find that you do need edit access to a project, you can work with the project manager who can give you that right for their project. All right, next slide. It's time for another poll question. And on this slide, we want to find out what you're curious about when it comes to Kahua. So what features are you interested in seeing? We have projects, that includes project status and descriptions, the communications app, daily reports, field observations, package submittals, punch lists, RFIs, file manager, media manager, or dashboards. So I'll give you a few seconds to answer that.
And Valerie, as we have that poll up, they can
Mhm.
pick multiple choice, right?
Yep,
Multiple options.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right.
I think we're going to go ahead and close out that poll, and
right.
We'll see what the results show. All right, looks like 86% chose projects, so the statuses and descriptions, followed by communication at 50%, daily reports 37%, and about an even percentage once you get down to field operations or field observations, package submittals, punch list, RFIs, and file manager. So I think you've got a lot of interest in all those options there.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you everybody for answering the questions. Now I'll turn it over to Tina, who's going to talk about how you can get access to Kahua.
Great, thanks, Val. Right, so how do you get access to Kahua? Today, what we're going to do is have you fill out a form. We'll put the link to it in the chat window. And basically, we're just going to collect your name, email address, and your agency name. And we'll collect that information, and then that information will give us your email address, and we'll follow back up with another email with another form for you to fill out. It's called our Kahua account request form. We're still in the process of finalizing that form, so that's why it's not our first step for today. But once that form is ready, we'll be sending that to you. It'll come from Kahua support at gsa.gov. It's going to ask for a little bit more information. In order to set up your account, we'll need to know the projects that you need access to, as well as the project manager for those projects. The project manager approves anyone external to GSA to have access to their projects. So we'll need the account manager, or I'm sorry, the project manager's name. So that'll be part of the form. I think a phone number is needed. So there's just a little bit more information that we're going to need from you in order to set up your account. So once we get that information, then we'll set up your account behind the scenes, and then you'll get one more email in order to finalize your account. And that's going to come from an email address from Kahua that's called outbox@kahuafn.com. The FN, by the way, stands for Federal Network. So keep an eye out for that particular email, because that sometimes gets lost in the spam folder. So we want to make sure that you see that email, because you'll need to finalize your account before you'll be active, before your account is active, and you'll be able to access Kahua. So there's a couple of more steps in that email, simple steps in order to finalize your account. So once your account's been finalized, then you can log into Kahua, and you can use this URL that's shown on the screen. It's launch.kahuafn.com. And you'll get the screen that's there in the corner will pop up, and all you'll need to do is click on launch in browser, and that will start the multi-factor authentication process that will allow you to get into Kahua. So Val mentioned that we do have a desktop version as well as a mobile version of Kahua, and those are available to you, and you'll get information on that as well. But most of our customers tend to use the web browser, so just showing you that information today. All right, on the next slide is where do you go to get more information? We have a site on gsa.gov. It's called Project Management Information System. And on that site, we have a tab that's called Access. So that has all the information that was on that last slide about accessing Kahua, as well as information for downloading the desktop version, etc. So you can find all that information out there. There's also a tab on training, and the training tab includes a training calendar that shows all of the classes that we have available for Kahua, and they're based on applications. So you will see all of the training that we provide our internal stakeholders as well. So you'll see all of the application training there. We just say, you're probably just going to want to take the training if you want to take those classes based on the applications that are available to you. Also on that site, it shows gives you a library of videos as well as reference guides for each of the applications. So that's available to you as well. So a lot of information out there that will help you in using Kahua. If you do have any questions or run into any issues, we do have a support center, and you can use the Kahua support and feedback form to fill out a form, and that will trigger a ticket for you, and someone will get back with you and help you out. That is a Google form, so the agencies that don't use Google, we do have the email address kahuasupport@gsa.gov that you can use to send in any questions that you might have. Customer training, we have another class following this one today that's going to be held September 15th. It's called the Kahua Users Club, and it's just a follow-on training to this training today. that's going to dive into the applications that you have access to a little bit more. So you'll get a little bit more detail about the applications. And it also gives an opportunity to address any questions that you might have after you get your account and start using Kahua. So that's scheduled for September 15th. Same time as today at 1 o'clock Eastern. And then again, it's a 90-minute session and there's a registration link. That registration link is also going to be on our gsa.gov site as well as GSA's Client Enrichment Series training site. All right, so that's all the high-level information. We're going to now jump into Kahua. We're going to turn it over to Susan and show you Kahua. So thanks.
Thank you, Tina. If you can stop sharing, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm excited to show you Kahua. If Tina or someone will let me know if you can see my screen okay, that would be great, and we'll go ahead and get started.
You're good.
Thank you. Okay, so when you log into Kahua, after you get your user account and you've been assigned a project, when you log in, you're going to see this Getting Started page. It's really one of my favorite things about Kahua because it gives you a great place to go to see everything that's important to you. Any recent tasks that have been assigned, recent messages. You can also see any recent projects you've been assigned to, as well as open tasks by date and also tasks by app. If you click this Help Center, it's going to open up our gsa.gov site, and we've got a lot of great information there. And I'll show you that site in just a few minutes after I finish the demo, because I want you to see where to find our quick reference guides and our videos, and also the PowerPoint presentations we use during training. So this is going to be your go-to hub. It's fabulous. Over on the left navigation, you're going to find your project finder. Project finder is where you're going to see the list of all the projects that you've been assigned to. Now, let me explain the way that Kahua is broken down as far as partitions go. It starts with the GSA domain, and I like to think of that as the umbrella because that's where everything else falls underneath. And if I look at GSA domain, I'll see where we have a GSA partition. If I open up this area, go back here. If I open up this area, my apologies, I can see where I've got additional partitions in here. I can also look at all projects. I can see any projects that I've starred. As you can see, I've got stars for both of these. Those are projects that you're currently working on. And when they're closed, you can unstar them so they're removed from this list. That way you get a really quick visual of the projects you're working on and quick access. You can see any recent projects that you've been working on. They're listed here as well. You can also search for a project. And when you search for a project, you can just put the name or the project number. And when you find your project, if you want to star it, you can click the star here. And if you want to open it, just click the title. Now, what Tina was referring to earlier is one of the things you really want to make sure that you do, especially if you're working in you have more than one project in Kahua, is always check the top, because that will tell you where you're working. That way you don't enter information or you're not looking at information for another project.
Hey, Susan, this is James. We're having a couple folks asking if maybe you can make that screen a little bit bigger.
Let me see if I can do that. Let me see if I can go in here and maximize it. Is that better at 125%?
I think that's great.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a really new thing that they've added, and I'll go over profile settings in just a second. But on the left side is what we call our left navigation. Now, I showed you how to go in and find Project Finder. I want to show you that once more because I think that's a really critical piece. Under All Projects, as you can see, right now I have open the project that I'm going to work in. I can see any of my projects under My Projects. I can see any that I have opened in the past under Recent Projects. And I love to use this search feature because it quickly goes through. I have access as an admin to a lot of projects, so it quickly finds the projects I'm looking for. Another thing you can do is left click on Project Finder and say Display My Projects. That way you have a really quick shortcut to the projects you're working in. To close it, just click the X. If you also want to minimize the left navigation, just to get a little bit more landscape, you can go ahead and click this arrow, and it makes it into a much smaller map over here on the left side. If you want to expand it, you click the hamburger icon and it opens it back up. The next thing I want to show you is what we call the app launcher. And the app launcher is going to give you access to all the applications that you have access to. Now, as you can see, we've got things like design review, file manager, media manager, project directory. You've got your document management applications. These are the tools that you'll be using. And to open one, you can open it very easily just by clicking on one of the apps. So if I click the app, it's going to open on the left side. Now, as you can see, I have RFIs already open, and I also have daily reports. If I have an application that I use frequently and I don't want to have to go to App Launcher and then click it to open it, I know it's 2 clicks, but when you're busy, that's a lot of time. You can right click when you have an app open and show on startup. Now, and you'll know that you've got it set up. When you right click, you'll see that check mark. Another thing that we've added is the ability to go ahead. We've got videos and documentation. And when you click that, it's going to open up. And as you can see, if I click this one, it's going to open up the video. Now, underneath the apps, we've got dashboards. Dashboards are great because I'm working on one, which is a client, external client. And the view on that one's a little messed up. I apologize. But this will show like overdue RFIs, RFIs that are overdue and due today, any submittal status. And this one's a work in progress, so pardon the mess on it right now. Under the search icon, search is great because search allows you to search across the entire domain. So if you've got multiple projects and you're looking for a specific document, instead of opening each project and then having the app open and going through and searching, you could actually search across the domain, or you could search in your current partition, which is the one you have listed at the top. You can also search across your messages and your tasks. And if you want, you can search across File Manager. So it's really easy to find information. A couple of things I think that are just great tools within Kahua is a lot of times we end up managing our project in so many different platforms. We're managing it via email, we're managing it via chat, and we're also managing it via a project management system. And that's a lot to keep up with. Well, within Kahua, you can assign tasks to people on documents, which is great. So if I have a task assigned to me, I'll have a red indicator here. And when I click task, I can see that I have 3 items. Let me go ahead and close this out right quick. And if I have a task assigned, I can go ahead and click the task. And here I can go in and do whatever I need to do. In this case, they would want me to review the file for a design document. I'll save my changes and then I'll click submit. And it closes out the task and it's removed from my list. Now, if I ever needed to go back and look at the tasks that I've completed, I can switch that list from active to completed very quickly. Messages are also sent within Kahua, and you'll have an indicator, tells you how many you have that you haven't answered. I can go in here and I can open up any of my messages, and I can see the messages over here. If I have Kahua set up to send my messages also to my email, I'll receive an email with the notification with the message, and there'll be a link to go ahead and click to open Kahua to the area that I need to review. So it's really awesome. It'll save you a lot of time. So this is your left navigation. You're going to use this to get around everywhere in Kahua. It's very seamless. At the top on the right, you'll see where my name is listed. This is where I have my profile settings. That's how I changed my viewing screen. So I have my settings. If I click my settings, it's going to open up another screen. There are several tabs. One is general. This will allow me to copy any inbound emails that include inbox@kahua.com to my inbox. What that means is if I've got an email in my Gmail and I want to make sure that it goes into Kahua, I can easily forward it using that inbox@kahua.com. and it will come into my messages in Kahua. Then I can link it to a document within my project. So it's a great way of keeping all that information into one location. You can send a copy of received messages to your email. If you have these slider bars on, that's those settings. You can tell it whether you want to receive the messages immediately or if you want to receive it via summaries, daily or weekly. If you choose weekly, you get to choose the day and the time. So that's a great way of not getting too bombarded with a ton of messages. Of course, you've got your time zone and your default languages. One thing that I always suggest everybody do is make sure that you turn on the project number. By default, project numbers don't show up in Kahua, so you have to turn that setting on. When you turn it on, it's going to require that you save, and the save button will populate down here on the bottom. If I go ahead and click this, you can see I'm adding the ability to add Google Drive, so I can pull from my Google Drive. And if I click, you can see that I've got an asterisk up here. Anytime you're creating a record or doing something new in Kahua, it gives you a little marker to let you know, hey, you've got an item you haven't saved. So once I save, if I choose to set up the project number, it's going to require that I log out and log back in. Now, I'm going to go ahead and save here. And because I had my project numbers, it's not requiring that I log out. Under profiles is where you can add some additional information. If I click my name here, on the right, I'll have a pop-up. This allows me to choose how I want my prefix. I could go in and update my middle name. I can put in my title. If I have an office, multiple offices, and I need to do that reassignment, I can. And I can also update my telephone numbers so the project team knows how to get in touch with me. You can add your picture if you would like. And if your email changes, you know, if your last name changes or if your name changes and you want to make sure that you get your new email in there, you can contact our team to take care of that and we'll update it for you. Again, you'd want to save. Now, don't worry about the password. That's going to be handled by, you know, GSA. So you won't have to worry about changing your password in here. There is a signature option that on some documents within Kahua, some will require, you know, like a customer using DocuSign for your CPA. But then we have others that allow the team to go ahead and apply their signature. It's really cool. They would just add their image, their signature would be here, and you create a 4-digit PIN and confirm it and then save it. And so if there's a spot within a Kahua, one of our documents that requires you to sign, you would just go ahead and click add signature, put in your 4-digit PIN, and it applies your signature. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click the X and return to Kahua right quick. So one of the first things I want to show you is I'm going to take you in right quick, and I want to tell you where you can find our QRGs before I forget to do that, because I think that's super important. We have a website, the gsa.gov site that Tina shared with you. And here you can see that we've got self-paced videos and reference guides. And if you want to expand out these different areas, it will show you the videos and also the reference guide that goes along with it. And we've got a ton of this information that we think is very, very helpful. So make sure that you go ahead and, you know, peruse this catalog, go through the videos, you know, download those QRGs because those are going to be really helpful along with our instructor-led training. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go into an application. So I want to first go into the projects app. You can see I've got a pencil icon up here at the top. There's some things I want to cover with you talking about integrations and the information you'll see in this particular application that will show you a lot of really good information about the project. So right now they haven't gotten that fixed for me yet. So let me go ahead and I'm going to show you in another project. So give me 1 second. Okay, I opened it up in the web with my GSA account. So let me pull this up so you can see. So if I click that pencil icon, I'm going to be able to open up what we call the projects app. And this shows a lot of great information about the project. And I want to also use it to talk to you about some of the details on the application. So at the top, you can see where there's a send button. I'll go over that more in a few minutes on the RFI app. There's an edit button. And if you have an edit button, that means you can click edit and you can update the information in the document. Takes just a second for it to open. Okay. Now, over on the right side, you'll see what we call the section navigator. This is a fabulous tool. It allows you to quickly get around within a document, especially a document that's as big as this one is, because otherwise you're just scrolling. So this allows you to get around. You just click the area and it'll take you right there. So I'm going to go back to the details section. And I'm going to just go through real quickly. This shows you the project name and number. There's a Rexus number that is actually an integration with GREX, and it's going to bring in the milestones and leasing documents. Then you scroll down, you've got your project name, it shows you a project short name description, and it'll tell you the project type and the project subtype. Those two items are extremely important because those determine the type of template that is used and also will bring in the correct milestones. Now, if you scroll down a little bit further, there's a lot of information you can gather here. Now, here it tells me the building information. This shows me that I have 2 buildings assigned. I have an internal status, client status, and then I've got dates. And these dates are pulled in from the milestones. So it will update as the milestone schedule is updated. Here I've got funding. Now, my funding information is pulled in from RETA. If it's a work request, it's going to pull in from RETA. And if it's a IRIS, it will come in via an integration from IRIS. Then I have the roster. That's the team roster. It shows me the project manager, contracting officer, etc. And then I have certain places like additional scope, sustainability, financials, etc. Under leases, this will be linked with GREX. And then for your occupancy agreement, that's going to be linked to our OA tool. So there's a lot of really good information in here that you can see that'll show you different information about the project. So I'm going to go ahead and at the top, you'll see where it's marked as non-CUI. We'll talk about that in just a second when we get into RFIs. So to close it, you just click the X. And then you go ahead and click the X again, because what it did is it returned it back to read only. So once I've closed that, then I can go ahead and I'm going to move off of this one and go back into the other application. So first off, what I want to show you here is let's talk about, I was watching the polling questions. Thank you also for participating. That was great because it kind of gave me a really good idea where to start. So under applications, you'll see where we've got, I'm going to go ahead and start with communications. Now, communications are great because you can actually, if you want, you can create a memo, a letter, fax, transmittal, and what you're doing is basically copying. If you've got a fax or transmittal that you want to put in the system, you can go ahead and recreate that in here. It's not going to fax it for you, but you can recreate it in here for project records. But let's say you wanted to go ahead and create a memo. You're just going to click memo, and it's going to open it up to the right. Now at the very bottom, you'll see that there are 3 buttons, and these buttons are super important because they're going to do a lot for you as far as your viewing goes. If I click the full screen, it's going to give me a lot more landscape to see. If I click the 2 vertical lines, it gives me, the log, so I can continue to see the log and I can see the form on the right. If I want to return to the log, and the log view, every document comes with its own log view. So you can see the records for that particular application, which is great. If you want to open one, you just click on any record to open it, and it's going to open it up in a form that looks like this. If it's created, that form will be filled in. So your communications memo, super easy. You're just going to you'll click inside this field, and what you're going to do is you're going to pick from the list of people that are in Kahua. So you can say only show project directory people, or if you need to pick from the full list, you can uncheck and find it. So I'm just going to go ahead and select Valerie. and I choose Valerie's name. Now, if I needed to CC someone, I could do that. See, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck and choose Tina. Excuse me. It shows who it's from, and then I've got the subject. I can put a subject in here. And then I can put the body of my message here. This is fully formatable, just like Word is. So if you wanted to go ahead and put bullets in, you could do that as well. You'd put your message in here, and if you needed to go ahead and put any other additional information, enclosures sent via, etc., you could do that. And you can also upload any attachments here. You would go ahead and click Save. And then you would go ahead and here, it would show you the body of the message, and you would click Send. And then it's going to notify them. They'll get a message here. They'll also, you can see I've got, this is the cover letter, copy to communications. And I'll click send. So now they have not only the message, but they've got a cover letter as well. So this is your communications. And the nice thing about it is you can send from any document in Kahua. And if you tell it you want to go ahead and save it to your communications app, then it will do so. That way you've got a log view of all the communications that are sent, no matter which app you're working out of. So I'm going to go ahead, and then the next set, I'm going to just take a look real quickly at the daily reports. So again, I'll go to that app launcher and click daily reports to open up that report, that application. The application opens on the left, and as you can see, I've got my log view. And this shows me the author type, the number of companies, and the workers. So I'm going to go ahead and just select this item. I can't create any, but I can view the documentation. I'm going to make this full screen again. And as you can see, this gives me a lot of information. I've got this detail section that I can quickly jump back and forth to. I've got my details here. Anywhere you see these buttons, it's an expander or a more button, which means I can click to open it up in a more full screen mode to see everything, which is great. Close it, I just click the X and click done. So you'll see these a lot. Anywhere we have a grid, a lot of times you'll see those expander buttons. So scrolling down, I can see visitors, equipment, material received. And of course, there's media and there's also references. This captures the weather. If your project is set up correctly, it's going to capture the weather. It'll be linked in to weather.com. It's a great feature. And if you need to upload, if your project team is in the field and they're using the mobile app and they want to take pictures directly, from their phone and upload it, they can. Terrific feature. Okay, up at the top, you'll find history everywhere. And history is great because if you need to see what's changed from the last time that document was done, let's say that you're working with somebody on something and you want to see what has taken place or what's changed, you can click View Edit. Once you hit History, it'll show you who's made all the changes, and you can click View Edit on any of the items listed. And here you can see anything that's new, anything that was marked previous. This one was changed. You can see where this one went from 0 to 16. Shows you the date, time, and who changed it. So the history is a great way to see any changes to your documents. You have a send button up here at the top. And if you click send, what it does is it opens up a send window. And because Wayne and Celicia are both on this document, it'll pre-populate with their names. If I don't need to send it to them, I just click the X beside their name. And if I want to go ahead and send it, I'm going to use Valerie again. So I'm going to unclick. Let me go ahead and unclick here. I can go ahead again. I can put a CC or a BCC. And what I want to do, if I want to copy it to the communications app to have a log of all the communications I'm sending people, I'll click Copy to Communications. It titles it automatically from the title of the document. And here I can go ahead and put the body of my message. It attaches a PDF copy of the document of the daily report and any attachments that were there. So that's great. Whoever is receiving it, if you need to send an email to somebody outside of that does not have a Kahua account, you can do that. So what that does is if you need to send a PDF copy of this report, they'll receive it and they get a PDF copy. Go ahead and click send. And I've notified Valerie and asked her to upload the photos. Now, if I need to close an application that I've opened, I'm going to right click and just click close. The next step I want to show you is RFIs. So you can see I've got it open over here. I was working in that before you guys logged in. But to open it, you click apps and then you have RFIs. Because I opened it earlier, it shows up in recents. And if I need to search for an app, I can always come up here and do RFIs. So I'm going to open the RFI log. I have a lot of RFIs in here. And to open up an RFI that's already created, I just simply need to go ahead and click the title. It will open up. And like I said, Kahua is super consistent in the way it operates all the way through. On every application, you're going to have a log. You'll open the record. It shows up to the right. You can maximize the screen. Every document comes with a section navigator. So you've got the send button. We talked about that. We've also talked about the history. But one of the things I want to show you is how can I view this record in a formatted way? So if I click view, it shows me the RFI that I can go ahead and use in PDF. So if I want to click this, it's going to open it up in a browser window and I can download it. I've got a few different things up here on the toolbar. I can change the zoom. I can move down to the second page. I can maximize this to fit page or fit width. I can also go ahead and do text selection or search within the document, and I can rotate it. To close that view, just click the X and it'll return right back to the document. Now, for reporting allows you to go ahead and look at this. If you've got a couple of different icons at the top, one is the list view, one is reports. So if I click reports, I'm going to go ahead and close this view out. I'm going to go ahead and start running this report, but I'm going to take you into submittals because it is pulling a lot of data. So it takes a second. I don't want you to have to watch the wheel spin. So what I like to do when I'm working and I'm pulling reports is I'll go ahead and click the report. I can filter it by who it's assigned to, or if I'm looking for a specific date, or I can look at the owner's rep or if the owner responded. But in this case, I'm going to leave that filter blank and click view. So while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and go to apps and we're going to take a look at package submittals. So I'll click package submittals. Again, it opens up over here. I have two tabs. I have submittal packages and I have submittal items. I have two icons. One is a list, one is reports. We have a lot of, well, this one has only one, but if I go to submittal items, let's take a look at the reports we have here. Quite a few different default reports are listed. So if I want to go in and let's say I want to go back to my list view, I'm on my submittal items tab. If I want to look at an individual submittal, I can use the search icon to quickly find anything I'm looking for. I can change my search criteria to number, revision, submitting reviewer, etc. And here I would just put in my search criteria. And as you can see, it went ahead and filtered based on the information that I'm looking for. And it's going through and looking at all of the columns I have selected. To open a submittal, I'm just going to go ahead and click the record once. It'll open to the side. And I can scroll down or use the section navigator. Again, I've got a view that allows me to view this in a formatted way. And I can download it via PDF. I'm going to click to return. Now, if I want to share the URL with somebody that is in Kahua, I can go ahead and click that URL and get the link, and I can share that link via email if I need to. under submittal packages, that's where we take the different packages, the different items, and package them into one particular package, making it easier for reviews. So if I go ahead and click this one, you can see the status of it is completed. I can see all the information, the revision, the type of package information, who created it, who distributed the response, and scrolling down if I've got any reviewers. In this case, we only had one. We can have consultant reviewers that can come in here and complete their review. It shows the submittal dates, and it's doing a lot of date tracking to make sure that the team stay on time with their submittal reviews. Here I can see that there's only one item in this particular package, and if I click this more button, it's going to show me the actual submittal item. So you can get a lot of detail, a lot of information just from these screens. And if I had any references attached, they would be there. Now, another thing I want to show you is Media Manager. So Media Manager is where you store, like you can have your job site photos, and you can pull from Media Manager for any pictures. As you can see, we've got a lot of pictures in here from our training days. You can open up a picture. Let's open this one. It's a sample window. And I can see all the details. So what's nice about that is as the project team is uploading those project photos, they can date, it's going to be date and time stamped with the person that's uploading it, but they can also give it a title instead of getting that DSC 0716.jpg title that comes standard. You can actually title these, put a description in, location, category, status, etc. You can even track the GPS longitude, latitude, and altitude. So, I mean, there's a lot of great information. Those can be downloaded by clicking download. You also have a history button here as well. So one other thing I wanted to show you before I came off of, let's look at communications right quick. We have views, and with our views, you can, we have a lot of default views. And what that means is you can see default, easy output, etc. These are coming in as standard views that were created with Kahua. But you can also create views if you'd like. So you can create your own view. And what you can do is you can pick and choose between the columns that are listed here. You may want to uncheck type, and you may want to come in here and look at number. You may want to sort by something differently. Scope, what I like to tell everybody is change that to just you. The reason why is you don't want to have to weed through a million other views. So change it to just you so only you can see it. Indicators, you can add indicators on dates to show you if something's overdue. So it'll mark it in red, or if it's upcoming, you can mark it in orange. You can filter based on information. You'd select the different column and filter. And you can also set up grouping. And when you're finished, you click Save As and give your view a name. And click Save. So when I click the X, it goes back to my view. So I took out the type, so now I see everything else. So views can be found. Those are going to be in your log views and your register views that show you all the records, but you can create your own views and everything. So you're looking for the information that you need to see. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is File Manager. File Manager can be found under Apps, under Other, and you'll click File Manager. File Manager is great because it comes with a preset of folders, but folders can be created by project teams to store additional information. As you can see, we've got, let me go ahead and I'm going to drag that out a little bit so you can see the titles. I can go ahead and I can collapse or I can expand. Any folders that have this little marking, those are really controlled folders. Those, you might have your design review documents. So those are going to be really limited to certain people on the team. You have photos and media that's shared in here as well. And if you want to go ahead and open something, say I'm going to go ahead and open this particular item. I can go ahead and make that screen a little bit bigger so I can see everything. It takes just a second for it to render. But up at the top while it's rendering, I want to show you, I've got several buttons. I can edit, which means I can go ahead and update the details of this particular document. I can, because I'm an admin, I have delete rights, but that won't be there. You can look at the history of the document. You can view it. You can send the file directly to someone. You can also just send the link. You can compare it to another photo taken, like if you took one last week and you had another comparison photo that you wanted to look at, which is really cool. You could copy it. You can rename it. It can be locked if you're working on it, much like SharePoint used to do. If it's locked, you can unlock it. If you're the person that locked it, you can download it. There are quite a few things that you can do in here. There is a markup utility. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. Give me a second. And the open one that'll open a little bit quicker. Okay. So as you can see, I've got drawings here. And if I needed to come in here and do a markup, we've got full markup tools. You've got the different things that you've got the text selector, you've got search over here, you've got the selection tools, lines, pens, you've got rectangles, clouds, and text that you can do. So if you want to mark these things up, you can. You can also do your squiggly text and highlight as well. Here, you can go ahead and make it a little bit bigger, and then you can go ahead and close your markup tools. So you do have the ability, and markups are great because they'll show you a list of everything that's been marked up and by who at the bottom. So it gives you that great historical view right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click close there. We've talked about stakeholder reports and dashboards. Remember, your dashboard is here. And again, I apologize, I should have had this ready. But right now, this one's a work in progress, and I'm hoping to have it done by the end of this week. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Tina and everyone to go ahead and do Q&A. Thank you so much for letting me show you this.
Thanks, Susan. And I know Susan Mills, she has been training the GSA folks internally for some time now, and she is very, very thorough and very helpful. So thanks for doing that demo for everyone.
You are most welcome. Thank you for having me.
As far as questions go, it looks like Tina and Valerie are rocking on as far as answering these questions as they come in. Tina,
Yeah,
was there
so-
any, or Tina and Valerie, were there any questions you want to address live?
Let me take a look.
I think one of the questions you just
Questions that
answered.
actually came up in chat was the Google form. So if you are not able to access Google Forms, so like to request a Kahua account, the little form that we shared with you in the chat window, if you're not able to access that, go ahead and just send us an email using the Kahua support@gsa.gov site or email address, and that will work just as well. So we'll get you on the list, and then we will send out another email to you from Kahua support@gsa.gov with the link to the request access form that's going to ask you for a little bit more information. So if you're not able to get into that Google form, just email us. All right, let's look at some of the questions, Val. Are there any in here that you think we should talk about?
I think one of the questions that I saw pop up was, is Kahua required system for customers to use?
Right, and I responded that it's not. It's not a requirement for our customers to have to use Kahua. What it is though is it's a collaboration tool, and our project teams are going to be using the tool for everything about the project. So, and using it to collaborate on the project. So you might get communications from your project team members through Kahua as a customer, but customers are not required to use it. It's just the opportunity for you to be in the tool that we use to see the project information that's in there and to be able to use the tool to collaborate if you so want to. So it's not a requirement.
Then as far as getting requests or access to the system, is that a pretty easy process? Like how quickly is that, like the turnaround for that?
Now you want to answer that one on the turnaround
Sure.
time?
I'd say just give it a few days. Part of what we need to do is work with our IT team to get what we call an Active Directory account set up. And sometimes that process can take a little while, but typically I would say give it 2 to 3 days in order to get an account once we receive your form.
Thanks, Val. You don't have to have a .gov address to get access. We use your company or your customer email addresses. I think that was one of the questions.
Looks like I'm not seeing any other questions out there. And of course, this will not be the last time that customers will see training for Kahua, correct?
That's right. September 15th is our next session, and I believe it's at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Yes.
And in that session, we'll go a little bit more in depth with RFIs and submittals, and then we'll also cover the design review system within Kahua. So I don't know, I think that one will be pretty interesting for people on this group, for clients to look at. And then of course, we'll have time for Q&A in that session as well.
So in the meantime, between now and September 15th, we'll get you set up in the tool. And if we'll have a session or two as far as if you run into like open sessions, if you're running into any issues with getting your account set up. So that'll be made available to you. But well, by the time we roll out the next training in September, you should have your accounts set up for you and be able to get into Kahua, and you can bring any questions that you might have about the tool at that time as well.
All right. Well,
I
Tina,
see one
can
last
you-
question, James.
go ahead.
Cynthia put a chat in. Will there be a executive type summary of each project status to access? So once you're logged into Kahua and you're in the projects app, there will be a field there called client status, which will be basically the most recent status narrative from the project manager. So you will be able to see that once you're logged into your specific project and you're within the what we call the projects app in Kahua.
And as far as the integration of their systems, it was mentioned GREX would be integrated, EPM. What other systems am I missing?
Well, EPM was migrated. EPM information was migrated to Kahua, some of it. If it was an active ongoing project, most of those projects were actually migrated to Kahua because EPM will be decommissioned in the fall. But as far as live integrations, we have Rita, GREX, Rexus, we will have Easy and help me out, Tina, FMIS coming up. We will also have CFR and EDMS. So I think we have about 20 applications altogether that we're working on integrations with, and most of them are live already.
Right, and a lot of those aren't accessible to customers or stakeholders anyway. It's our internal systems that feed into Kahua. And we're also working on sending that information back out to those data sources as well. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that's going into this tool for the project information to be there. But as far as the tools that Val mentioned that you may have access to, like eRita, some of that information you can find in Kahua. So that will be helpful, so you wouldn't have to go to 2 different systems.
All right, well, thanks, Tina, Valerie, and Susan. We do have one more poll question to launch. And we'll go ahead and launch that. So the poll question is, as a result of today's session, how likely are you to request Kahua access? And you only get to choose one for this one. Very likely, likely, not very likely, or sorry, this is not for me. So go ahead and answer for us. We'll give you a couple seconds on that. And we'll close that out. And it looks like 56% of folks chose very likely, 38% likely. And then we have 2% not very likely, and then 3% this is not for me, which is okay. But we could change your mind if you attend the session on September 15th. So thanks for answering those. We'll go ahead and close this out. Tina, Valerie, Susan, any parting words?
Just want to say thanks for attending and for your interest in collaborating with us on your projects.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Tina, Valerie, and Susan for a great presentation and demo. And also, I want to thank all of you for attending, our clients. We will post formal written responses to the questions and comments that you posted on our Q&A panel as a frequently asked questions document for future reference on our website at www.gsa.gov/CES. And speaking of upcoming client enrichment series sessions, we've got a couple on the schedule planned for the next couple months. We've got policy and process changes for occupancy agreements, otherwise called Oasis Overview Encore for Thursday, September 8th. We did mention the Kahua Users Club on Thursday, September 15th. So make sure and register for those as well and get on our list for future sessions as we plan those out throughout the year. In closing, the goal of the Client Enrichment Series is to engage our audience in workplace topics that contribute to your mission success and to your effective management of your real estate and workplace programs. Thank you again and have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.